going on, everybody, and welcome to the 66th episode of the Hot Takes podcast. Very interesting episode we have for you guys today as we're talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. We're going to be doing a whole spoiler review on the movie, our thoughts, maybe concerns, but as far as me, didn't really have any concerns for the most part, and other things about the movie. And then we're going to get into our other topic, which are the top 5 time travel movies of all time. I would like to introduce my guest tonight here on the podcast. First time on the pod, Angelo Purpura. Thank you for being here, my man.
How's it going, Frankie?
No, I'm doing very well, and I'm glad for you to be here, my man.
Oh, it's great to be here.
You know, it's funny. I remember asking you a while ago to come on the pod, and you didn't seem as interested at first, whatnot. And now I'm glad that you're all about it now. It's great.
Hey, listen, you know, when you got a topic like this, you got to talk about. You got to talk about it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of talk about. Zack Snyder's Justice League came out this past Thursday, which I believe was the 18th. I could be wrong on that, or the 17th. And it premiered on HBO Max, the new HBO streaming service. And I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff that I want to talk about. So I'll basically run down those, cut in whenever you want with your opinions and whatnot, or to feed off what I'm saying, and we'll just go from there, and we'll just go back and forth with each other on it. All right, so first thing I want to say is that I thought the film was incredible. I thought it was well worth the wait. You know, it is such a shame. You know, right when I finished this movie, I'm like, wow, it is such a shame what Warner Brothers and Joss Whedon did to this poor man's film.
Agree.
What happened?
Agree.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just such a shame. I don't think they really knew what they had until they made a worse version of it. You know, it makes it more of a shame because Zack Snyder was also kind of going through a real rough time when this is happening. Like, the reason why they said he dropped was because of the unfortunate news of his daughter. Which you've heard. Have you heard about that?
Yeah. I believe it was suicide.
Yeah. She committed suicide. It's so unfortunate what happened. And you know, I'm sure that's only part of the reason why he left. The other part was probably because Warner Brothers was trying to pull so many strings on this movie and trying to take too much of control on it. So it makes it just more of a shame that they ripped this movie apart. With that being said, though, I don't believe we would have appreciated the Snyder Cut as much as we did if we got this exact movie, or somewhat like a theatrical version of this movie, when it was originally supposed to come out. Could you kind of agree with me on that?
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't imagine it would have been like a 4-hour film in theaters.
Yeah, definitely not.
I don't think that would be a thing. It would have been 3 hours at least, maybe 2.5, like they did with BVS.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. It's crazy just knowing that we could have gotten this film back in 2017 instead of getting it now on HBO Max.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, it stuns me too. You know, it's like, as I'm watching this, I'm just saying to myself, why didn't we get this years ago? Yeah. Like, I mean, we could have gotten sequels too by now, you know?
Which, this makes it even more of a shame because they announced today, one of the CEOs of DC Films and whatnot said that they're not continuing this story of the Snyderverse. Like, the Snyderverse is dead now, basically, now that the Snyder Cut is out. They're, like, officially done with it. And they, somewhat of a quote, they said that they're more excited about these interdimensional heroes that they're bringing into this movie film universe. If Zack Snyder's Justice League, or a theatrical version of it, came out, when did Joss Whedon's come out? 2017?
It was November 2017.
Yeah, if it came out in 2017, we probably would have had a continuation of this whole story, you know? And they probably would have been better and better as they went on. It just really is a shame what they did to it. It really is.
No, it is. I agree. You know, just considering they even had the sequels release dates out. I think they at least had the second one out. I mean, they also said it was a part 3 to this, which I thought it was just a 2-part series.
Yeah.
But they said 3 parts. But yeah, I remember they had a release date for that. I think they were going to do back to back.
Yeah.
You know,
they were.
Then. But then, you know, part 2 got scrapped, and then part 1 got chopped down to bits by Joss Whedon. You know, it was just, it's just, I'm thinking, like, how is this all a scenario? You know, like I understand, you know, from the critical reception from BVS may have been, like, you know, the panicking.
I definitely think it was.
Yeah, you know, and then there was Suicide Squad, which made even worse.
Mm-hmm.
And then One Woman, and they pretty much just shoved, like, all, like, story elements to that into Justice League. You know, I mean, considering like an hour in the movie, like it constantly kept bringing up like Steve Trevor.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like, and if you watch the Snyder Cut, like they don't talk that much about Steve Trevor.
They don't. You know? Oh, they only talked about him once, I think. In
2 scenes.
There was 2 scenes.
Yeah,
with
one
him?
when she's talking to Affleck in the Batcave, and then one when she's talking to Cyborg.
Yes, that's right. Yes, you're right. Yeah.
And then from there, you know, from the Whedon Cut, you know, it was like the whole scene when they were, you know, deciding if they want to bring back Superman or not. You know. And also, I just want to say, like, in the Whedon version, you know, Batman looked like a dick, you know, honestly, considering, like, it was his choice to bring back Superman, but in the Snyder Cut, it was kind of like the group decision.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that's true. This is true.
That was, like, amongst, like, one of the bigger difference from the story of this.
Definitely.
2 versions.
A scene that I really liked in the Whedon Cut, actually, was when Superman had Batman by the neck in the air, and Superman was like, "You won't let me live, you won't let me die," and then he asked, "Do you bleed?" From BVS, a callback to BVS. That part I actually enjoyed. I was like, "Ooh, like I like that line a lot," and that wasn't in the Snyder Cut either. I'm not mad at it or anything. Like it just goes to show what parts were Whedon's and what parts were Snyder's. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you with that. Let's get right into the gritty, nitty pieces of this film. I could start off by saying that Wonder Woman's action in the film was incredible, especially in the beginning where we got a more detailed scene of when those bad guys went into a bank, I believe, and he had the bomb there and just to kill people just for no reason, it seemed like, basically.
I assume that Death of Superman was kind of like bringing people out from the dark.
Yes, you know? Definitely, yeah. Don't mind the waters from the bathroom.
Yeah, I've been here like the last 10 minutes.
You know, I had such a bad taste in my mouth of Wonder Woman from 1984. Oh, yes. I did not like that movie. That this definitely was like, wow, yeah. This is what I remember and know and love out of Wonder Woman, were these type of action scenes instead of when they nerfed her in 1984. So her action scenes were great. All the action scenes in general were incredible, I thought. And that's such a big thing for me in superhero movies. The action has to be spot on. It has to be executed well. The choreography, the music to it, everything of that nature. It has to be spot on, especially for a superhero film, for me to make the movie work. And I thought it did. Flash's scenes were incredible as far as action. Cyborgs were... Dude, I even really like Batman's action scenes. It almost made it seem believable that it's just a human fighting these parademon aliens, you know, and making it work. You know what I mean? With his gadgets and whatnot.
It feels more earned in this movie. You know, I remember, you know, when I was watching the Whedon version, when it was in theaters, that when at the end of the movie, when they're all like staying together after fighting Steppenwolf, it's like I had this feeling where it's like, even though as I enjoyed it when I first watched it, I also had this sense of feeling that something's missing. You know, I really felt like there was more to this. You know, and then as the months came by, you know, you heard more about the behind the scenes, and there was like a 3 to 4 hour version of this. I was like, that could be the reason why I was feeling this way.
Yeah.
You know, and then as I watched the Snyder Cut, you know, recently, you know, when they're all staying together, you know, you had more of that feeling that, like, this is the Justice League.
Yes.
You know, considering, you know, these characters had much more screen time. They had much more time to interact, you know. And that's the thing, too, you know, in the Whedon version, you know, they didn't really have, like, everything felt so rushed. Like, they didn't really, like, have time to, like, get to acknowledge each other that much.
This is true.
You know?
This is true.
Again, you know, it just blows me away how this is a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, the fact that they took out Flash reversing time to basically save the universe.
I love that
scene. Incredible scene. And the fact that they took it out. Like, that was such a pivotal moment in the Flash for this movie to show his purpose to the team. You know, like, sure, he's earned his purpose on the team even before that moment in the movie when he was saving the people from all those falling debris of the building, and just other scenes with the Flash, even when he was saving Iris. Yeah, dude, such a fantastic scene. Even when he was talking to himself, like, you could feel he's like, yeah, he's gonna fucking do this. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna skill. Yeah, and he did.
I think I like Ezra more as Flash after watching this version than the Whedon version. You know, I mean, the Whedon version, they made him look like an idiot.
They made him look like an idiot and like a little too quirky for my taste. Don't get me wrong, he was still quirky in this movie.
Well, it's the character.
It's the character, but part of me thought it was just a little bit too much. And I still kind of feel that way. I'm not the biggest fan of Ezra Miller's Flash, but I definitely found him funnier, and I have more respect for him in this version of the movie. And you'd think that I wouldn't find him funnier because it's Zack Snyder's version where you'd think a much darker tone and everything like that. But I found the Flash funnier in this version. Like the part where Flash is charging after Superman just shoves him away and and Flash runs into Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
And Aquaman's just like, oh, you're going to get it.
He's like, I'm
so sorry. Me and my brother, when we were watching it, we were laughing out loud at that scene. We thought it was hilarious. Just well-executed jokes throughout this film, not just from The Flash as well.
And it's surprising, too, because these jokes were written by Snyder, and, like, Snyder's not one for humor.
Right. You
know?
And I think that was his choice to add those sort of jokes and humor in there, maybe because of the criticism of BVS, of how it was too dark.
Much dark, yeah.
Yeah. And like we were saying before, which I wanted to touch on, about how BVS's Batman versus Superman, for you guys that don't know, but I would hope you would know, maybe because of the critical response from that movie that they started getting panicky, like you said. I think you hit it spot on. Warner Brothers is a very reactionary studio. They're not like Marvel, where they have plans way ahead of the present time, and they know how they're going to execute it rightly. And if something slightly doesn't work, they're still going to keep it going just so they don't mess up timelines, they don't mess up certain plot holes that might happen and whatnot. No, DC, very reactionary in my opinion, and I think this is really why we got a Joss Whedon cut in 2017.
No, I agree. It's, like when you look at like Thor 2, like how you react to that. Simple. Get a different director.
Yeah.
Go a different direction. Easy.
Right. And don't ignore what happened in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that DC really ignored stuff that, Joss Whedon's version definitely did ignore stuff as far as like maybe the nightmare scene and stuff like that from BVS and whatnot.
Darkseid, even though he was completely cut out.
Yeah, right. Oh, and oh my God, Darkseid was fantastic. But let's also talk about Steppenwolf. Dude, they just make him look so much more badass in this movie, and so much more menacing, so much more evil and scary. He looks more of a creature than he did in the Whedon version, where he looked like a dried up dead human with almost like a Loki helmet on to, for his horns, like
I can't forget the face is so creepy.
Yeah. In the new version or the
Whedon version?
The Whedon version is creepy. It is definitely creepy, but I didn't like it that much. And I thought this Snyder's version of Steppenwolf, as far as appearance wise, very well. I will say I don't really know Steppenwolf that much from the comics.
I don't know him that well either. I mean, all I know is that he has close relations with Darkseid. Like, that's as far as I know.
Yes. But I feel like I did learn more about him from this movie, because he seems to be, or he was, an outcast of Darkseid, and he was trying to earn his respect back in his group and everything like that by taking over Earth. which is another thing we didn't get in the Whedon version. The backstory and confrontations between Steppenwolf, Darkseid, and Darkseid's right-hand man. I forgot his name right now. The one that has like that hood over his head. You know who I'm talking about? Yes.
Desaad, yeah.
Yes.
I had to think a second for his name.
Yeah. The whole backstory and scenes of them talking to each other through that sheet of metal that transformed into them. I thought they were great scenes.
Yeah.
It was a 4-hour-long movie, but it didn't feel like that to me.
Yeah, it was like the same thing with Endgame. It was like a 3-hour movie, but then you felt like it went so quick.
Yeah.
It was like this, with 4 hours.
Right, and that is such an accomplishment, in my opinion, because that goes to show you that nothing felt out of place or not needed, which I think DC has a problem with, of having too much stuff in there that's not really needed, that they could have cut down, like in stuff in Aquaman, 1984, maybe even Suicide Squad, but nothing felt out of place, nothing felt like it didn't need to be there or like forced in. And there was a lot of action in it, but there was also a lot of build up and talking in the movie that wasn't boring me at all either. Now, I really want to know the opinion of someone who isn't as into the DC universe or superheroes in general, maybe, and they go and watch this movie, and I want to know if they'd have the same opinion, if they, think it felt like an actual 4-hour-long movie or if it felt shorter, That's why I wanted to watch it with my mom, who's not really, she's invested in the Marvel movies, but she's not invested with DC. I'm really interested to get her opinion on it when we watch it, to see if she felt like it was way too long for her liking or it felt shorter,
Also, I want to touch on the 4-hour thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are complaining so hard about it. It's like, if it's like in the theaters, the same shape it is right now, if it was in theaters, I can understand the complaint.
Yeah.
But considering the fact that you're watching it at home on HBO Max and you can just pause it whenever.
Right.
It's you can literally watch it halfway through, pause it, and then just go resume it in your own time. It's I really don't understand the complaint. It's why is it 4 hours? Well, considering that, Snyder had so many ideas, going to this film and the films that should have came afterwards, and considering half the characters that were introduced, they didn't get all movies beforehand.
Yeah.
The least you can do is, give a 4-hour film and use some of that time for the characters to let them breathe a little bit.
Yes.
Which they did really great for them, especially for Cyborg.
Oh my God. Dude, Cyborg was the best part of the movie.
He was the highlight.
He was the highlight of the movie. And I'll tell you what, Whedon's version, he was also my favorite part. But this version of it, Cyborg's story in this just knocked it out of the ballpark for me. I thought, what a touching scene when he helped out that struggling single mother with money and whatnot. That scene was so touching. It shows that Cyborg has a real good heart. And even the relationship between him and his father, I thought was incredible. How that turns around as the movie comes into fruition. And his story was incredible. Him feeling like an outcast and everything because of what's happened to him. I really did think it was incredible. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Meanwhile, I originally hated when they first announced the movie and that Cyborg was going to be in it. I hated the fact that Cyborg was even a part of it because this is a new 52 sort of Justice League in a sense where Cyborg enters the Justice League. At the time, I'd rather him stay with the Teen Titans or if they made a Doom Patrol movie, which I didn't even know he was a part of until that show came out. But now I totally changed my mind on it. Great addition to the Justice League. Great addition. And I mean, just from his powers alone, he's a powerful guy. He has very strong capabilities and everything like that. He deserves to be in the Justice League. Teen Titans are cool, but, Justice League is the A game,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also, and the other thing I noticed, too, it's did you notice when Cyborg, he had, those mechanical arms, right behind his back?
Yeah.
And then when Aquaman is when he's hitting stuff with his trident, it's like a big wave.
Yes.
It's these characters can do much more than what they did in the Whedon version, but in the Snyder cut, it really showed like their full potential.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we didn't see Cyborg's arms in the Whedon cut.
Yeah, and clearly we didn't see Flash time traveling.
Yeah,
at the end.
Yeah, right.
It's like you just keep going back to the Whedon version. It's like, why wasn't this in the film?
I know.
It's like, it's crazy.
I know.
Yeah,
dude. I couldn't tell you their thinking process of what they wanted to take out and whatnot, because everything seemed so crucial in this new movie that it's like I feel like they didn't really care about the movie. That's how I feel. I feel like it's like, all right, I'm walking into this supposedly I'm walking into this hellhole of a movie. Let's just put in some funny lines. Let's take this out, just to make it shorter. And that was it. Call it a day. That's what I feel like he did. I feel like he had no care for it whatsoever.
No, and especially with the allegations I've been hearing about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
From since Age of Ultron and now, it's like, I can't imagine like working with him. I even hear of some people like, what's that show? The
Buffy?
Buffy the Vampire? Yeah,
Buffy the Vampire
I heard
Slayer.
some of the actresses are like, they're coming out and saying that he was like very like toxicating or whatever to work with.
Yeah.
They were siding with Ray Fisher since he's pointing allegations against him and some of the executives at Warner Bros. Who apparently allowed it for when they were doing the reshoots. It's like, it's like, I can't imagine if I was like any of them, behind the scenes, doing all this stuff. When Zack Snyder basically low-key got thrown out.
Right. Right. He definitely did. Oh, 100% did. I didn't hear any stories about his toxicating behavior in Age of Ultron, but I did hear about the Buffy the Vampire stuff, and I've obviously heard about Cyborg speaking out, and you have people like Jason Momoa having his back and everything, and also speaking out on the matter and whatnot. Yeah. I'm so curious of what sort of position they're in with that right now, with all these allegations and whatnot, because it went under investigation. I don't know if it's still under investigation, but I think we'll have to wait and see until we hear something else come up about it.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, I personally don't want to see Joss Whedon do another comic book movie, or any movie for general.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, really when you look at Justice League from 2017, it's like, of course, all fairness, that wasn't entirely his fault. He was kind of brought in the last minute, and Warner Bros. Completely refused to delay it, but still, it's like, you could have, like, walked out from that.
Yeah.
You could have avoided that.
Definitely. It could have been a quick paycheck sort of thing. I think it could have been that. But I also think he definitely thought he was, like, the big shot in town after directing the first Avengers movie, which also hit it out of the ballpark as well. Everyone loved that movie and everything like that. Yeah, I think he's kind of too full of himself, and maybe that's why he wasn't treating people right on set, because it's like, I'm right, you're wrong, shut up, do what I tell you to do, sort of thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like that's what it was. Yeah. What else do I got here on that? Oh, surprisingly, the 3-4 ratio of the film didn't take me out of it at all. When the trailers for this movie came out and it was in the 3-4 ratio, I was like, why are they making the trailers like this? That's so weird. And I'm like, ooh, I really hope the movie's not like this. I really hope it isn't. Even when one of the trailers was in all black and white, I'm like, ooh, I really hope it's not all in black and white.
I don't know why they're doing a black and white version, honestly.
They are doing one, no?
They are. I just don't understand why. What's the sole purpose of that?
I'm not too sure, to make it seem more vintage style or something like that, maybe. But I did hear that the other day, that they are doing a black and white version of it. That'll probably come out sooner than later, because there's not much editing involved when it comes to just making it black and white, or maybe there is. Who knows?
Listen, I've seen this movie like 2 times already, so I'll watch it for a third time, just for the curiosity,
Yeah, definitely.
Just the curiosity.
But the 3-4 ratio was something I got over very quickly, especially when they first say in the beginning of the film that it's in the 3-4 ratio to keep Zack Snyder's vision intact and the best that it could possibly be. So I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Different. definitely different. Huge superhero blockbuster movie that's not widescreen and just not widescreen and full screen and everything like that.
Yeah.
Very interesting, and it didn't take me out of it whatsoever. You know what I mean? How did you feel about that at first?
I thought it was fun too. I didn't have much complaints with it. The complaints I do have with the Snyder Cut are just like very minor.
Yeah.
No, well, we can get into that in a little bit. But no, I mean, I was totally fine with the ratio and everything.
Were you having like the same thoughts as me about when you saw the trailers and they were in that 3-4 ratio? Like, why is it like this?
I mean, my problem with the trailers wasn't that. My problem was I feel like there should have been trailers.
There shouldn't have been trailers?
I mean, they should have just done like one trailer and then that's it. Just do like little like clip teases and all that.
Yeah.
You know? Because there was that last trailer where they show, what's her name? Clark's mother, Martha. Of course, how can I forget that name?
Yeah, right, Martha. How did you know that name?
How can I forget that name? But no, there was that scene when there's a spoilers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. There was that scene when in the trailer where Martha's walking out of Lois's apartment and then she's got her eyes glowing. And even though I was like looking, I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And then when you watch the movie, it's Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
Which I completely jumped, by the way. I was so happy. My mom was next to me. She's like, "Why are you so excited right now? It's Martian Manhunter." I was like, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like my mom's don't read comics, so.
Right. When I was watching with my brother, I was like, "No effing way!" That was me. I was like, "No effing way! This is so sick. He's been here since Man of Steel, and we didn't even know it. Like, this is so sick." And my brother wasn't saying anything. I'm like, "Jesse, do you know who that is?" He's like, "Yeah, Martian Manhunter." Okay. Like, yeah, dude. Like, why aren't you psyched with me, bro?
Like, one of the biggest characters in DC Comics.
One of the biggest characters in DC, 100%. Well, I was so excited when I saw him in the film. Both of his cameo scenes in the movie were fantastic. When he was acting like Martha and talking to Lois, and even at the end when he's talking to Bruce. Interesting thing, though, when the Whedon version came out, and like you said before, you start hearing about these other things that happened in Snyder's version and everything like that. I remember Snyder saying something about that 2 Green Lanterns were supposed to pop up at Bruce's house at the end of the movie. Apparently, Kilowog and Tomare.
Yeah, I heard about that too today, actually.
Yeah, and this is kind of like old news. Like, this is one of the first things I think Zack said was supposed to happen after the Whedon version came out.
Yeah, I also heard that he was originally, trying to get Ryan Reynolds to come back in as Green Lantern as a cameo.
I heard a little bit of that as well. Yeah, I don't know if I would have liked that necessarily.
Well, I think it would have been him, but I think he said something like he would have been like a new version of Green Lantern, like not have his movie canon.
Oh, okay.
So I think he said that. Don't quote me on that, but I think there was something like that.
That I'm okay with then. Yeah. I heard the whole Green Lantern thing of them popping up at Bruce's house, but instead we got Martian Manhunter popping up at Bruce's house.
Which I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining about it either. That. No, I'm not complaining about that either. I just found it interesting why they didn't stick with that version of it, because no, I'm not complaining that Martian Manhunter was the one that popped up at the end, but we already seen Martian Manhunter in another scene. It would have been cool to see another group of heroes pop up at the end of the movie. It was like, hey, we want to join the league too. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, we got a Green Lantern as well in the Old Gods battle with Darkseid as well.
Yes. And also there was a night when Cyborg was having that nightmare sequence.
There was a dead Green Lantern.
There was, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if that was the same one that we saw earlier in the film.
I don't think so.
It kind of looked like it, or maybe, I don't know, I gotta rewatch it again.
Yeah,
I watched it twice, and now I can't even remember. So shame on me for that.
Yeah, that was another thing they were supposed to come out with, the Green Lantern Corpse movie.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be a show on HBO.
Well, now I think it's being developed as a show for HBO Max, and I think that's being worked on at the moment, although I haven't heard anything about it lately. But yeah, like we were talking about before, there were so many things that were supposed to come to fruition after the Justice League movie and Justice League 2, and it's unfortunate that none of it's probably going to happen.
Well, talk about Warner Bros. And how reactionary they are. Right now they say they're not, but who knows? Snyder did say if like the fan support is like as strong as the Snyder cut was, things could turn around. And realistically, they could just, even if they just do it like in an HBO Max releases, like I'd be fine with that.
I'd be fine with that too.
Especially if the films will be 4 hours long.
Yeah,
your chance with that is probably better with HBO than in actual theaters.
Oh, 100%, 100%. I hope they do a Justice League 2 and 3 and conclude that the whole story of what Zack wanted and still probably wants to do.
They owe it to him, honestly.
Oh, they do
everything
owe
you
it
put
to
him through.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially the fan base too.
Yeah, 100%. But then you have people, if they were to do that, get people like Cyborg who said he'll never work with Warner Brothers again by his choice because of everything that's happened. So that's a whole nother thing. There's also the thing that, Amber Heard's in some shit right now
with Johnny Depp,
with Johnny Depp and everything, and people hate, and I'm talking hate, Amber Heard. And, we don't have to get into that at all, but...
Prefer we don't.
Yeah, prefer we don't.
We don't.
All I'll say is that there's always two sides of a story, but... she's going through her thing. Who knows if she'll appear? Although I think she's going to be in Aquaman 2 because they're filming that this summer.
I heard something. I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard something that they're pressuring her to get her out.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I don't know if that's just a rumor or not. I mean, you hear a lot of rumors these days.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, we obviously won't know until the summer when they actually start shooting.
Yeah, 100%.
But who knows? I mean, personally, like, I wasn't, I was kind of like, okay, it's Amber. She's back. I mean, I'm not gonna make a big issue about it. And like, I'm just here to enjoy the film.
Yeah,
so
right.
And she wasn't even in it that much. So honestly,
no, she wasn't in it that much at all. And I actually liked her scene in the nightmare scene at the end too.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that as well.
Yeah, even that didn't ruin my excitement.
Oh no, I'm not saying it ruined my excitement either. It's just it's I feel like it's a seesaw right now. Do we get rid of her? Do we not get rid of her? Sort of deal. So yeah, back to Cyborg. It makes sense why Ray Fisher was so mad that his character wasn't given justice, no pun intended. With the Whedon cut, they cut out majority of his stuff with him and his dad. I mean, the dad survives at the end of the Whedon cut.
I remember that, yeah.
Right, and talking about Cyborg's dad. I feel like he was a strong supportive character in this movie. It added to another character, which a side supporting character is supposed to do. And I think it was done perfectly. I think it was executed very well. The scenes where Cyborg is analyzing research and everything like that, and they show you how he's analyzing the research by literally indulging him in that space, like he's back to normal and he's looking at all this information and everything. The scenes I'm talking about? Yeah, those scenes were incredible too. I really enjoyed those.
The scene where he's flying and he's like smiling because he's like enjoying this now.
Yes, yeah. I thought that was incredible as well.
Yeah.
It's
like a Man of Steel vibe right there.
Definitely a Man of Steel vibe. Yeah, definitely better than oh God, I hated this scene. Wonder Woman's first flight in '84. I think Cyborg's scene first flight was definitely way better than that for sure.
Yeah.
And but nothing will beat Superman's first flight in Man of Steel, which I listen to the song "Flight," the original soundtrack, all the time just to lift my spirits up and get goosebumps on my arm and whatnot. Like I love it. I love it so much.
In my second watch, when they were playing that song, when it's Superman versus Steppenwolf, I was getting the goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I was like, yo, I love this.
It's such a great track. And even when you have... it's a great callback from Man of Steel when he puts his fist down, the rocks start levitating around it, and he shoots up to the sun, and he's like this, and that music is playing. I'm pretty sure that music is playing in the background when that scene's happening. Another great scene too with it. Like I said before, such a touching scene where Cyborg helps the struggling single mother. Flash was good in the film. Actually laughed more at his jokes this time around, and his running scenes were fantastic too. I think it's so important, and I'm glad that they did this, that there's so many speedy characters out there in the movies now. You know, you have Quicksilver, both Quicksilvers, but they were both Avengers. Quicksilver had more of like a Swifty tone when he was running. Then you have X-Men's Quicksilver, where everything went in slow motion when he was running. And you could even talk about Dash from The Incredibles, and you know, the camera kept with him when he was running. There was nothing really added to it.
Don't forget Sonic.
Oh, and Sonic, which was a good movie, by the way. What do you think about Sonic?
I'm not the biggest fan of Sonic, but I mean, for a first movie though, it was fun.
Agreed.
It was a fun watch.
Agreed. But yes, I can't forget about Sonic. The Flash, I think his big thing when he runs is the electricity, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And bringing back the scene that I was talking a little bit about before, when all of the debris was about to fall on all those people, the people that they were rescuing, the music like almost sounded like the Flash's theme song in the CW show, like some sort of like some sort of like tone like that, and the electricity going all around when he's running. I thought it was incredible. So what I'm really trying to say is every running speedy character has their niche, you know, and that was his, and I thought it was a great choice of how they did that.
Yeah, I think at the Lightning, I think it really helped him make the Flash like his own style.
Yes.
You know? I mean, like, even when you look at like the Quicksilver, like both the versions of Quicksilver, like they both have like that kind of like that blue line that follows them as they're running. You know, Flash didn't really have that. It was just all just like electricity.
Like craziness almost going all around him.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, the dude's literally like a thunderbolt running around.
Yeah, right, exactly. And, I mean, he literally does conduct electricity and whatnot, especially when they're reviving Superman, and he has to reach the speed of light or whatever, and he just points his finger on the mother box, and it's that electricity shock, and they were good to go with that. Superman was back up and running. What else do I got here? Okay, so Aquaman. I thought Aquaman was decent. Don't get me wrong, I love Jason Momoa as Aquaman. And Aquaman was a great character in his own film, and I actually didn't mind him that much. I actually liked him a lot in Whedon's version of it as well. But, you know, I don't think much has changed with him as far as new scenes or anything like that in the Snyder cut compared to the Whedon cut.
I feel like he didn't have like much to do in both versions. Like, I kind of feel like he was kind of like the background character still.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, like Cyborg and Flash in the Snyder Cut, they kind of had like more of a spotlight, and then Aquaman, he was kind of just like in the background, which kind of made me feel bad for Aquaman. You know, I did like his movie.
Yeah,
me
too.
Didn't love it, but I liked it. And I thought maybe in this version of the Snyder Cut, I was about to say Whedon Cut. I was like, whoops. But no, in the Snyder Cut, like I thought maybe they have a little more for him to do, and you know, they really didn't have much. I mean, they fleshed in more of his story, you know, but we've already seen his movie though. That's like the issue.
Exactly.
So it's like we're kind of like getting like a refresher of his movie.
100%. I mean, and you could really tell that with his scene with, I forgot
Vocal?
the characters. Yes.
William Dafoe.
Yeah, William Dafoe's character, who I also love. Well, I love William Dafoe in any movie ever. Yeah, it's a real callback to his movie, the scenes with him and Aquaman talking about, like, you need to come back to Atlantis. You know, you have Ocean Master trying to take over and whatnot. He's not the right fit, blah, 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 things of that nature. But otherwise, there were no real important extra scenes of Aquaman, especially when it came to the fighting, too, I think. I mean, don't get me wrong, his fight scenes were good, but I don't think there was anything new that they added to his fighting scenes or scenes in general in this version of the movie. Unless I'm missing something or forgetting something. Do you have a different opinion on that?
Well, actually, I was going to say, like, there was that one scene, though, with him and Wonder Woman when Flash and Cyborg are digging up Superman's grave. Like, they were having kind of like that bonding moment.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot what the conversation was exactly, but it was talking like their history between the Atlanteans and the Amazons, you know, and then he's like, oh, you hate Atlanteans. Well, I do too. And then there was like that quote that both their sides used to say, and they were saying at the same time.
Right.
You know, it was kind of like a nice bonding moment.
It definitely
Which, again, you know, it's like you look at the Whedon cut and, like, you didn't see any of this kind of, like, you know, interaction or character bonding moments. And because considering everything was so rushed in that version, this one, it was, like, slowing down, like, giving these characters some time to at least get to know each other a little bit.
Build chemistry and everything like that.
You know, even though it was like one scene still, I mean, it was far better than what we got from the Whedon version.
And I think, you know, all it takes is sometimes just one scene to make it effective and to add that chemistry to two people.
True.
I think another thing they said in that conversation, now that you're reminding me of it, was that I don't remember the last time an Atlantean and an Amazonian worked together in such a long time. I think that's how the conversation started off. Mm-hmm. And then it went on. I was like, oh, you know, we hated you guys, you hated us, you know, all that backstory and lore to it. You know, I am curious as to why Snyder decided to keep on making the air bubble when they were in the water for them to talk.
I honestly hated that from the Whedon version. I was kind of surprised they left that in this. I thought that was a Joss Whedon move.
I thought so too. And you know, I remember when Justice League first came out, James Wan, the director of Aquaman, immediately said, yeah, that doesn't happen in the Aquaman movie. Not once that happens in the Aquaman movie.
I'm surprised he didn't change that. You know?
I'm surprised he didn't change that. I'm surprised there was no communication between the two directors of how they were going to talk in the water. Like, I think that's a pretty pivotal thing.
Unless maybe it could have been a Warner Bros. Thing. Like, I would imagine, like, redoing the whole scene would probably cost, like, an extra couple million even.
Oh, definitely.
So, maybe that could be the reason why, but I don't know anything.
You could be right. You could be right with that. The only other reason I could see why they decided to go with that air bubble is because maybe they just wanted to have a more private conversation. Maybe.
I don't know. I don't know how that logic works in Aquaman, so...
No, me neither. That's why I'm just making these assumptions and guesses. Maybe they just wanted to have a more private conversation, even though it didn't seem like anyone else was near them necessarily.
No. Unless maybe the fishes were listening, but who knows?
Right. And the fish are talking shit and like spreading words and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. I found that very, very interesting, and I'm with you. I didn't really like that. that much. Now the movie being rated R, it deserves its rated R spot. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's clearly because of the amount of blood that there was in action scenes. And, you know, there were 2 F-bombs dropped in the movie. As far as
3.
Were there 3?
I'm pretty sure there was 3. I think there was the one... No, yeah, there was 3. There was the one with the bank scene with Wonder Woman. There was Cyborg when he was having a conversation with
Wonder Woman.
And then there was one at the very end with Batman Joker.
I didn't catch the F-bomb at the bank scene.
Yeah. Well, I think it was like kind of like a background, but if you watch it with subtitles, you'll actually hear.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. I watch my movies with subtitles. That's just how I roll.
Really?
So, yeah.
Every movie?
Every movie.
Interesting.
It's the reason why I do that is because sometimes, you know, you miss little details because, you know, it was in the background.
Yes.
With movies, you know, that's just me.
Okay. I respect that. I'm not one for subtitles unless it's anime that I'm watching in Japanese. And I don't really like subtitles that much because I find myself focusing too much on the words instead of the action and setting of where the characters are actually at in the movie. But to each their own, you know. But yeah, I didn't catch that F-bomb at the bank scene. I will say, though, the F-bombs were not forced in. They weren't randomly placed. They were all in a perfect place and time in the movies.
It felt natural.
It felt natural. It definitely felt natural. I mean, I was so psyched, and the fanboy came out of me when Batman said to Joker, "Don't get me wrong, I will effing kill you." I thought it was a fantastic line. Mm-hmm. And even Cyborg's F-bomb line, F the world, just shows how much of an outcast he felt like he was because of what happened to him. And don't get me wrong, he was an outcast. You have him walking away from when he helped that single mother, and you see people looking at him like, whoa, like who is, you know? And he puts his hood back up.
It was like with the original Fantastic Four when Ben just doesn't want to be out in public.
Oh, yes.
It was like that kind of a vibe.
Yes.
You know, it's like I'm a monster. I don't want people looking at me.
Good comparison there with that. Yeah, 100%. So like I said, F-bombs were perfectly placed. I think they were really effective in the movie. And, the blood in the action. But by the way, you won't see in an MCU film. You won't see that kind of blood in the MCU films. I think every time a gun is shot and shoots someone, or even when an axe hits someone, you're not seeing that blood.
Nope.
You're not seeing that at all. Snyder, he's got it on lock with that,
That's the thing I like, though, because, like, the DC films, like, they can just do that whenever. You know? Like, Marvel's, like, they always have, like, the limitation for each movie, or show, for that matter, too.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, fight scenes were overall amazing. Special effects were in place nicely. I was also saying about Wonder Woman's action, especially towards the beginning, was amazing. Something I wish saw more of in 1984. We talked about Batman's action, and you could actually it's believable that he was fighting parademons. We talked about the Martian Manhunter appearances. Okay, Joker. He still pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. He still pissed me off. Man. I really try to like Jared Leto's Joker. I really do try. I have a pop figure of him next to Old Man, Armored Batman. I didn't mind him that much in Suicide Squad. I really didn't. But it's something about this movie. Just the laugh, man. I can't stand his laugh. I really can't. It didn't take me out of the nightmare scene. I mean, it's cool that Joker teamed up with them. But, man, I don't mind that Jared Leto's Joker. I just wish he had a different take on the character, which I think he could have revamped and totally switched it up with this little scene. And he didn't, in my opinion. What were your thoughts on Joker?
Wow, I'm kind of the opposite of you. I actually thought that 4 minutes of Joker was far better than his entire portrayal in Suicide Squad.
Okay.
Only because, like, even though, I mean, I can understand from your perspective, but for me, I felt like it was a potential for maybe a better Joker for him. I mean, even though the laugh is pretty cringeworthy, I will say that. But no, I mean, it was definitely an improvement in terms of his appearance. I mean, he looked like a nasty looking gangster from Suicide Squad. I mean, here he actually kind of looked like the Joker almost. Yeah. Or maybe in the Nightmare version for that matter.
Right.
I saw a lot of potential there, I mean, maybe who knows if God willing, we do get the sequel, because I think they did say he was going to have more of a role in part 2 of Justice League.
Oh, really?
I think Snyder said something like that, so if anything, they'll just, give them their overhaul and see how that goes.
Yeah.
Definitely need to work on that laugh, though.
The laugh needs to be worked on 100%.
Definitely need to work on it. It's not like Walking Phoenix level.
No.
Not even close.
Not even close. Not even close to Heath Ledger's either. And, I think his laugh is awful. I think it's way too forced. I think that's what it is for me. I think it just feels way too forced. And it just feels like, the Joker laughs because he actually finds something messed up really funny. And I think he just laughs in these movies just to laugh to piss people off. Like, and I'm not talking about piss the audience off, even though I'm sure audiences were pissed about it, but to piss off people like Batman. Like, just that forced laughter to piss him off, which is cool in a sense. But I would rather him laugh because he actually finds something hilarious that's actually really messed up and effed up.
Right. I mean, even though, like, in that scene, Superman comes in and he's about, to freaking kill everybody, and then he's just standing there laughing.
Yes.
So, I mean, at least from that particular moment, it wasn't, like, forced in.
Yes, I will agree with that. But otherwise, the other parts, I do think so. I really do think so.
From Suicide Squad, yeah.
Yeah, Suicide Squad,
That's a whole different conversation.
It is a whole different conversation. I will agree with that. I think it's a totally different Joker from Suicide Squad to Justice League. He's not that gangster in this movie, in the Zack Snyder movie, clearly.
It's a better version, in my opinion.
Better version?
Of his character, yeah.
I will agree with you on that. All right, so yeah. I'm changing my stance on it a little bit. I do think it was better. It was better this time around.
Wasn't perfect, of course, but I think, if part 2 happens, I think they'll work out even better.
Yes. And that's, maybe that's part of the reason, too. We just don't get enough of him in each film, in the DCEU that he's in. As much as he was a main part of Suicide Squad, he really wasn't. He was promoted as one, but really wasn't. He didn't have enough scenes, in my opinion. And that's why I defended him in the past. It's like, they just didn't have enough of him. They just need to add more. It'll be okay, when he's in future movies. Even though it was only 4 minutes in Justice League, and I'm not saying I wanted more, I'm not saying I wanted less, because this wasn't his movie. This was about the team. This was about Steppenwolf as the main villain. I want him back. I definitely want him back. I just want to see a more and more improved version of him. And please fix that damn laugh. And that's all I'll care about.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah. But again, from what I saw from Justice League, it definitely did look like a somewhat of an improvement, and I think it can go on, if Snyder and all of them could get the chance to.
Yes.
So we'll see on that part.
Yeah, 100%. So like I was saying, such a shame. I did like the fact that Batman recruited Joker on his team, though, which I thought was an interesting concept. Speaking of, it's a shame Warner Brothers probably won't continue this story, but I will say never, because I don't think we all wanted this Snyder Cut to happen, but we never really thought it would have, and it did happen. And, Zack Snyder has even said it himself in interviews, never say never, like, this happened, let's see where this could go.
He said he's open to it, so.
He says he's open to it, which is very important as well, because I wouldn't want this continued without anyone else. Mm-hmm. It's his vision, it's his story that he needs to complete on his own. All right, another plot point that we already know they aren't going to follow through with is Lex Luthor telling Deathstroke that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh my God. I got so excited there.
I was very excited there.
So excited.
And immediately I thought, this was supposed to be Ben Affleck's Batman movie. This was supposed to be it.
Yeah, he was supposed to do his own Batman movie, but then that got scrapped. And then, did Ben Affleck come up with the Batman title, or was that just a work in progress?
So, apparently it was going to be called The Batman, like Robert Pattinson's Batman movie is called. Ben Affleck was supposed to write, direct, and star as Batman in this film, which would be an incredible feat. It really would.
And he's really good as a director, too.
He's an amazing director and storyteller. You see stuff like The Town, Argo even, too. And I think he did Gone Girl as well. He's incredible. He really is an incredible director and writer, which why I was so psyched that he was working on his own Batman project. When Lex says that to Deathstroke, I was like, wow, what an epic movie Batman would have been if they were to do it.
I'm not saying that Matt Reeves is going to be bad.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that at all.
That was pretty incredible, too.
It looks incredible.
It really does.
Yeah.
But you just keep thinking, like, after watching that scene, it's like, wow, like, you could imagine what Affleck's version would have been like.
Yeah, right.
Batman
versus Deathstroke, something I would love to see live action wise on the big screen.
Yeah, I think Snyder intentionally left that scene there, in hopes that maybe to push Warner Bros. To make that movie again, or at very least do a TV series on HBO Max.
TV series, or maybe another just movie for HBO Max, which was rumored. If you haven't heard, this was kind of a while ago, but it was rumored that Ben Affleck's Batman was going to come back for a short series or a movie of his own thing. That was like a heavy rumor for a little bit, and I think that scene was in there just in case they wanted to do something with it. And speaking of Deathstroke, I thought that post-credit scene in Justice League, Whedon's version, when Deathstroke enters the yacht, and Lex is like, maybe we should start a league of our own. I thought that whole scene was constructed by Whedon. That's obviously not the case because it was in Snyder's. It was in Snyder's cut as well, of him escaping the jail and him being on the yacht. The whole let's make a league of our own line was kind of corny to me. I'm glad that part of it was taken out. Sure, it's a cool little lead on to what might happen. What do they call the bad guys that come together? The Legion of Doom?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Legion of Doom, right? Yeah. That would have been cool to see, but this was a better replacement line. Oh, yeah, Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Yeah.
You know? I think that's such a better line, you know? But, hey, we will see what will happen with that. The music choices in the film, which we talked a little bit about before, were incredible in the film.
Junkie XL is amazing.
Junkie XL is incredible.
He's incredible.
He is.
Like, I don't know how Marvel hasn't gotten this guy.
Yeah, I know.
He's a great composer. Like, come on, Disney.
Yeah, for real. Especially for superhero projects, he's incredible with it. Wonder Woman's theme song when that first came out for BVS, incredible. And now they added like that Amazonian cry in the beginning of it before her actual music plays. I thought it was great. Whenever she does something sick, you hear that Amazonian cry. I thought it was great. Like I said, when Flash goes fast and you hear like that fast-paced theme, subtle but fast-paced theme, thought it was great. And even the parts where it was heavy, dun, 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 like when Cyborg's vision with Wonder Woman and Aquaman dead, and Superman being evil and everything like that, those music parts were excellent as well. I'm a big soundtrack guy, so I look for these things.
No, I got you.
Yeah, and I thought it was incredible.
Now, I'm the same way, too. Like, I absolutely love the soundtrack. And I also love the one when, when they're all getting ready for the last fight. And then it's like I don't know, it goes like, dun, 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 dun. No, that sounds like Halo. I literally made it sound like Halo now.
I know what you're talking about, though. I know what you're talking about.
I forgot how it goes, but it's like a really, like, catchy, like,
yes,
tone. I really like the songs a lot.
Tonight, I need to look through the whole soundtrack and favorite the ones that I really like. And,
yeah, I got to pick the right franchise, too.
Yeah, right. Like I said before, great callback to Man of Steel where the rocks levitate around Superman's fist as he's about to take off. Now, the black Superman suit, amazing call, and it was an amazing call to have it, and it's very comic accurate as far as Superman's resurrection, and he wears the black suit. I mean, they skipped out on the mullet and the beard. I have no problem with that. I have no problem that they kept that out.
That's fine, man. As long as the face is not CGI.
At least, yes. Oh my God, that's one of the first things I thought. I was like, at least we're not getting a CGI mustache.
Like, I remember that now. It's like it looks so bad.
I know
it looked so bad. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, when I first saw the Whedon version, like I didn't even notice it. It took me a while just to realize it. I'm like, wait, what is up with his face?
Yeah.
It's like it looks like it would look like a Snapchat filter. Almost. It was, I remember that. It was like memes for it. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It's another reason why they should have just not reshot anything for Whedon's version and just kept things as they freaking were. Because what was it? Henry Cavill was filming Mission Impossible at the time where he needed that mustache.
Yeah. Which I don't understand why they couldn't just shave it. Like,
shave it and put a fake mustache on. I mean, they were both Warner Brother projects. I feel like they would have made a smarter decision. Be like, what would be the most effective thing to do here? You know? And maybe they wanted to make the mustache in Mission Impossible more effective by having it really being there. I mean, was it worth it? Probably not with it's now meme central, you know? And it's just a big joke, you know? And will always be a big joke. Some of the choices they make, man, I just don't understand it.
And it's like I keep going back to it. It's like how was this a thing? It's like, why couldn't it just been left the way it was?
I know.
You know? It's crazy.
Warner Brothers was scared, man. Mm-hmm. They were scared of everything that Zack Snyder was doing. And I'm telling you, it's just because of BVS's critical response. Which, by the way, more and more as time goes on, I appreciate the hell out of Batman v Superman. I thought it was a great film.
Yeah, I rewatched the Ultimate Edition a few weeks ago, and I liked it a lot more than the theatrical version.
Me too.
You know,
me too.
It's like, because like if you haven't watched the 3-hour version, you know, it actually covers up more of the plot points that the 2.5 hour version. Was it 2.5 hours? I believe it was.
I think it was.
Yeah, like that little, like that half hour is cut out. Like it makes more sense to the movie.
Yeah,
you know, it brings more sense, and it's like the same concept. We're looking at this, like, why wasn't all this left in the first place?
Yeah, right. I mean, you have a 3-hour movie like Avengers Endgame making it into theaters. Why not keep it that long?
$2 billion success. Like,
yeah,
it didn't stop it.
Right. Exactly. So the Darkseid scenes were very good. They were executed very well as a tease for future projects, obviously. You know, the only problem I had with Darkseid is they kind of made him a little bit of a bitch when he was going against the old gods, no? Or is that just me?
I mean, I think maybe he was in a different state at that point. Maybe he was not as powerful.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that. Yeah, I don't think he had his own mega beams at the time.
He looked different.
He did look different, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of bothered me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I think, you know, obviously it was a longer scene. We got it as a longer scene this time around, the whole old gods versus Darkseid's crew. But, you know, it was almost a little still too short for me because I really wanted to see more Darkseid action and fighting and everything like that. I think he just went down too quickly and too easily, in my opinion. I really think that's what it was for me. I will say one great scene from that old gods fight was when he kills the Green Lantern and the ring starts flying and he like smiles as he's about to grab it.
Oh man.
It gave me Thanos vibes immediately of him about to grab a stone.
Imagine he actually did get it. Like that
exactly.
would be crazy.
And that's probably why he was smiling. It's like, oh, this is gonna be good. You know? That scene I liked a lot.
That would have been crazy.
Yes. That's really all I had for it. I'll say to close that up, and we could obviously talk more about it, but this is what I had in my notes. Overall, the film is completely different than the Whedon cut. It's definitely its own project, and most importantly, it's 10 times better than what we got in 2017. And, you know, I heard rumors that Warner Brothers was still shaky on the Snyder cut being a success and whatnot before it came out. You know, I don't know why they're so worried about Snyder's projects.
It's like, again, you know, you look back at BVS, you know, it's like the critical reception, you know, they always look at those reviews.
Yeah.
You know, instead of like having faith that, you know, it'll do better, which clearly, you know, if you've seen the reception for Justice League, it's been far better than some of the other recent decent movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like what, like a 73, 74 right now?
Last I saw,
I don't listen to reviews, but like when you look at like that compared to BVS, like that's a sign saying it's better.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure Warner Brothers is probably kicking their own butt right now, saying it's like, wow, maybe we shouldn't have changed anything in this film, and we would have had a much bigger and better success in the box office if we got reviews like this for a Snyder version of it to begin with. But yeah, I mean, also, like I said before, I don't think I think on Rotten Tomatoes, the fan score is like 95%. And it deserves it, don't get me wrong. But like I said before, like right in the beginning, I don't think fans would have appreciated and loved it as much as they do now if we didn't get a Whedon version in the beginning and we did just get Snyder's version to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that it wouldn't have gotten good reviews if a Snyder version just came out. You know what I mean? I definitely think, I 100% know for a fact it would have gotten better reviews than the Whedon version that came out. Say Snyder's version still came out in 2017, but obviously it would have had to been cut down more to maybe a 2 hour, 45 minute to 3 hour movie. Still better response from the critics.
It's far better than an under 2 hour film, so.
Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly. I think Whedon's Justice League made it just about 2 hours. I think that's what it was. And I know for a fact. I just know for a fact. Would have gotten better critic reviews and fan reviews if that version just came out to begin with. I need to take a sip of water. I feel like I've been talking so much I haven't.
Sorry, I'm like almost done with mine here. To touch on that, it's like you look at it now and like WB's like, wow, we probably really did messed up.
Screw the pooch.
Yeah, and it's like, you would have left the film. Things could have been so different for DC films right now, Sure, we probably wouldn't have gotten Shazam, which I really like Shazam a lot.
I like Shazam a lot as well.
Yeah, But, here's the cool thing, though, since, everything's now, like, up in the air. If they were to decide to do a sequel or sequels, they have Shazam, they have Harley Quinn, they still have, like, what? They got Black Adam, which I think they're supposed to start shooting out in a couple weeks.
Yes.
I think it will give Snyder, like, more of an opportunity to add more to his sequels than he originally planned, Listen, you could put the whole, like, Shazam family in there, that's crazy good.
I think you can, too.
Have them flying with Superman in the battle, like,
yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be totally sick.
I
don't know about the whole Shazam family. I think I would rather just have it be, Shazam.
Billy Batson alone?
Yeah, Billy Batson alone. Because I feel like it would be a situation, like...
Perfect. It's overpacked.
Yeah, overpacked. Like a perfect example is like in Iron Man 3 when he has his whole army of suits fighting with him. The first thing I was thinking of, really hope this doesn't happen in Avengers. Like, it would be too overpacked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I feel about the whole Shazam family entering the Justice League. I feel like it should just be Billy Batson alone.
But anything's possible.
Anything is possible. I'm not saying it would end up bad, but for me personally, I think it would be just a little bit too overpacked. What other heroes do they really have working on right now, movie-wise?
Well, they do. They also have Supergirl, which they did cast her.
They cast her.
She's going to be in the Flash.
She is going to be in the Flash, yes.
I forgot her name. No, really good-looking actress.
Very good-looking actress. I don't know if she's that much of a well-known actress, though.
She was in a soap opera. I forgot the name of it. It was something Restless? Young and Restless.
Yes.
Or Restless. I don't
know. I think you're right.
It was Young and Restless, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I'm interested, obviously. And we'll see how it goes. Speaking of that Flash movie, how do you think that's all going to play out?
Well, I think that's all supposed to start shooting next month. So far we know that, both Affleck and Michael Keaton's Batman are supposed to be in it. And of course, Supergirl, Iris West from the Snyder Cut is supposed to be in it. They were supposed to have the actor who
played the dad?
Yeah, they were supposed to have him come back, but he dropped out, so they're recasting for his father.
Yeah.
I think they were supposed to have Cyborg in that movie too, but with all the allegations going on right now, I think he's got cut out. I think they did say he got cut out.
Yeah.
I could definitely see Wonder Woman in it.
Me too.
Wonder Woman's like the biggest thing in there right now still, so.
I could see all of them popping up, even Aquaman too.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like, why isn't Cyborg in there? It's kind of like an FU to the character.
Definitely. Unless they just recast Cyborg. In the near future. I'm pretty sure they confirmed that they're not recasting Cyborg for the movie, for the Flash movie. They're just taking him out. But not to say they won't do that in the near future for other projects and recast Cyborg, which is a shame because I liked, especially after the Snyder Cut, I love Ray Fisher's Cyborg. Thought he did a fantastic job.
I don't know. It's all wait and see.
Yeah.
That's supposed to start soon, so we'll see.
I'm nervous about that movie. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I think, man, I just am. I think they're going to try to do something really big. And I think they're going to fall on their face, man.
We'll see. That's like a big movie right now.
It is definitely a big movie. But we could pause and you could take that if you want.
No, it's good.
Okay. Yeah, dude. We'll see. I have high hopes for it, but I'm just scared. I really am just scared for it because I feel like they're going to do something big, as in they're going to reshape how this whole universe is and how they're going to go forward with it, and which is a good thing. I think there's some fixing that needs to be done, especially if Snyder Cut is not canon. I think there's definitely work to be done for this universe. I think this Flash movie is the answer, but it gets me worried that they're going to do it the wrong way and just dig the hole deeper for themselves.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. Yes. No. Let's hope not.
I mean, listen, now I'm seeing potential for Ezra's Flash, so we'll see how
now
it goes.
I am too. Yeah. Now I am too, for sure. You have anything else to add to Snyder Cut at all?
Other than I loved it? No. That was it, you know?
I will also be watching it for a second time with my parents probably. And if not, probably a cousin who hasn't seen it. I want to watch it with someone else who hasn't seen it. I love seeing people's reactions to movies that I've already seen.
No, yeah, I hear that.
So, whoever it is, they won't have seen it before, and I'll enjoy it with them. Alrighty. We both said what we had to say for it. We both thought it was amazing. Please check out the Snyder Cut. Appreciate this man's film. Please appreciate it. He worked his ass off on this project, along with the two other movies he made, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which lead up to Justice League. It's incredible. With that being said, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is the top 5 time travel movies of all time. A little thing I wanted to say about time travel movies is that there's so many of them now that it really is its own genre if you think about it, which is why I thought of this topic. I mean, some films that I have in my honorable mentions and my top 5, they aren't necessarily time travel films. It's not all centric on that, but it deals with time travel in some way or the other. Needless to say, it's a big plot point to a film, even if it's one plot point out of a bigger story. I think it's a genre of its own, really. That's why we are doing this topic. I will start off with my honorable mentions. You could say your honorable mentions if you have any, and then we can move on to our top 5. We'll do 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, and so on. So my first honorable mention is Deadpool 2. Wow. I say Deadpool 2 because it is a time travel movie in a sense throughout the whole way, with Cable going back in time to stop this kid, Fire Fist, from destroying the world. And he basically wants to kill him throughout the whole movie. That's why Deadpool and Cable are constantly fighting throughout the film until towards the end. And I mean, it's really a time travel film during, I believe it's the post-credit scenes, where Deadpool himself starts going back in time and starts doing crazy stuff. The one thing that wasn't as crazy was him actually saving his girlfriend, or wife? No, girlfriend. Saving his girlfriend from, because she got, spoiler alert, she was killed in Deadpool 2 in the beginning. Saves her girlfriend. I know there was a cut scene where Deadpool kills baby Hitler when he goes back in time and do that. Have you heard of that one?
I remember that, yeah.
I think they even released that scene too on the internet as well. Thought it was hilarious, but I understand why it wasn't added to the final cut of the movie. And then even he goes to save, who is it? The normal guy who joins the X-Force, Peter, I think it is. You know what I'm talking about? He's like the guy with the mustache.
Guy with the mustache, yeah.
Kind of looks like a dorky Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec sort of deal. He goes to save him after the whole X-Force gets annihilated. And yeah, that is one of my honorable mentions there. I have 3 honorable mentions, so I'll just run through these other 2. The Terminator. Classic film. Sarah Connor, great character. The Terminator himself, great character. And just an overall great movie. Great concept. Obviously, it deals with time travel. Most of those movies do deal with time travel, but unfortunately, the Terminator movies have just gotten worse and worse as they went on, in my opinion. Some of them I haven't even seen because I didn't think they were worth the watch. Like the latest one I think was Genesis or something like that. And maybe it wasn't, but it was something like that. And just didn't think it was worth the watch. And the other one is more of a more comedic tone, which is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Loved that movie when I was in college, was when the first time I saw that. Realized how much of a classic it is, and it only led me to find out how much of a cult classic it actually is. And I am yet to see the new Bill and Ted that came out. Have you watched it at all, the new one?
No, I haven't actually.
And it got decent reviews, too. It was a movie that I was worried wasn't going to get great reviews, but it actually ended up doing pretty well, like 70% sort of deal. So, yeah, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Fantastic, hilarious film. Keanu Reeves, the boy. And, yeah, those are my honorable mentions. You got anything in store for us?
Yeah, I didn't put that many for honorable mentions either, but the one I did put was X-Men Days of Future Past.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, X-Men related, it's Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know some people just really didn't like that film.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I know some people that I know personally didn't like the film.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. But, no, I thought it was a really good film. You know, I mean, I feel like it was the first time in a while that I actually seen a good X-Men film.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like the whole concept of, you know, let's send Wolverine back in time. Let's get him to save the world, because Wolverine was a big character, obviously.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman, you know, always loved Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. And yeah, I mean, the whole movie was just like, it was a thriller for me. You know, it actually felt like an X-Men movie for the first time since
in a while.
X2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like a nice, some nice fan service there. You know, you got to see the newer X-Men, well, not the newer one, but the younger version.
Yeah,
and then
introducing them.
Yeah, it was just a shame that we never got to see like the original cast like together. Well, we did, but like it was like for one scene, that was it.
Yeah, right.
You know, but no, it was considered like one of the better X-Men movies. And even though it it restarted everything, but then the movies went bad again. But still, I mean, it was a fun ride. I saw it in theaters, and
I saw it in theaters as well.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yes.
You know, it was a really fun watch. You know, I haven't watched it in a while, but I definitely would probably. It's on Disney Plus, I think.
It is.
It is. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Hell yeah.
You know, it was just a shame though. Like afterwards, the sequels didn't do well, and it kind of just made the whole film pointless.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But still, the film alone though, it's still fun to watch.
Fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely.
And yeah, like pretty much the other mentions I had was the Back to the Future sequels.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 and 3. Liked them a lot. Didn't like them much as the first. The first was it's a clear classic.
Yes.
And Pop Top Time Machine. This just to throw it in there for fun.
Absolutely.
You know, it's been a long time since I've seen that film, but it was a very, very like fun film to watch.
Alrighty. With our honorable mentions out of the way, we're going to move on to our top 5 list. And let's get right into it. My number 5 is Looper. This was a film that you asked me about if it counts as a time travel movie, and I was like, hell yeah, it does. This is one of Bruce Willis's best work, I think, in my opinion. And the fact that they were able to make Joseph Gordon-Levitt's face look like a younger Bruce Willis, I thought was fantastic. I thought that was a key part of the film and the promotion for this film. And, I haven't seen the movie in a while. I remember loving it. That's why it's my number 5. But one thing I will say I do remember very vividly, because I listened to it a lot, is the soundtrack for Looper, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. I have a soundtrack playlist on my YouTube from all movies and stuff like that. I even put them in a certain order, like it's telling its own story and stuff like that. I get crazy with it. But Looper's in there, and I have 2 or 3 songs from that soundtrack in that playlist, and it's dear to my heart, so I had to put it as my number 5. It's a movie that I definitely want to rewatch soon, especially with me bringing this up on the list. But yeah, fantastic movie. So you could go ahead with your number 5.
So yeah, number 5. No, not number 5, but wait. Oh no, I messed up my order here.
Okay.
Okay, but no. But what I put for number 5, what I meant to put for my number 5 was Avengers Endgame.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that in theaters like 3 times. 3 times.
Me too? Yeah, I think 3 times. Yeah.
Each with different group of people.
Yep.
You know, it was, the thing I liked most about that movie was like it made its own rules of how time travel works.
Yes.
Because, going back to, as I mentioned, X-Men, they pretty much like hard reset everything. Like Avengers, like they kind of just like, we go back in time, you stay in the past, that's your present, and then your past will be your future. Which I know for some people it was kind of like a little confusing at first.
Yeah.
But like after a while, you start to understand it. And I also think what's smart about that too was, make all the previous movies, still have meaning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because,
and now just by thinking about it, like if you were to like hard reset it, like all those films, like 10 years of those films.
What were they for?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So like I can understand like the logic of that in general. And just in general, it was a fun film.
Oh yeah.
It was a nice fan service, really, it definitely brought a lot more potential for the MCU.
Yep.
Considering, where WandaVision's going, we might be going with Falcon Winter Soldier and all the Phase 4 films.
Yes.
It's, it was a good film.
100%. My number 4 is Hot Tub Time Machine. I love that movie. I think it's hilarious. I think it's such a cool concept, but at the same time, it's such a simple concept too. It was a great film. I love, what's his name? Craig
Robinson.
Craig Robertson, yeah. He's great. I even like the younger kid who was also in The Office with the glasses, like the nerdier kid. I think he's a great part of it as well. Those were my 2 favorite characters of the film. I know they made a second Hot Tub Time Machine, which I heard was okay.
Never watched it.
I watched bits and pieces of it. The main guy wasn't in it anymore. And I forgot that actor's name. It's like a guy you see a lot in movies, but you never know the name of, and he's always in like these smaller roles in movies and whatnot. But anyway, he wasn't in the second one. But like I said about Looper, it's a movie I haven't seen in a little bit, so it's something I definitely need to rewatch again. But I just remember loving and laughing out loud at that movie. So that's why I put it as my number 4.
Yeah. The reason why I didn't put that on my number 4 was because honestly, to me, I found that film to be like a meme. So it's all really just for like jokes and fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not saying it's a bad film.
No, right.
It's just the reason why I didn't get to my top 5 is, well, I have another comic book movie that I kind of replaced that with. Mm-hmm. But no, like to me, it was just the concept of it. It was just to like poke fun at the time travel.
Exactly. Which I liked. It's almost like,
not saying it's bad. It's just
No, yeah, right. I mean, it's almost like an epic movie or scary movie where it's making fun of something. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
This is one of the first ones to do it with time travel. So that was interesting on its own as well. And they executed it as well. Because like you said, not saying it's a bad movie or anything like that, just because they're poking fun of an actual concept of other movies. It was still executed very well and it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
All right.
So,
number 4?
Number 4, Jesus. So number 4 for me was Back to the Future, the first one. Yeah, the reason why I put just the first one was, one, the film. It's clearly a classic.
Yeah,
it's a classic. I love Michael J. Fox and the scientist. What was the scientist's name? I forgot. I always forget his name.
Doc Brown.
Doc Brown. Okay.
The actual actor's name I'm not too sure of, but the character's name, Doc Brown.
Yeah. I forget the actor's name, but yeah, I mean, I like the relationship of those two. It's funny too because now when you watch it and then you look at Rick and Morty, it's like you get similar vibes from it.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny too. It's like I wonder where Rick and Morty got its ideas from.
100%. Right.
But no, I mean, it was like, I think that was like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was like the first film that entered the time travel.
I think it is.
Concept.
I think it is. Yes.
It is. Yeah. It was a nice introduction to it, and seeing like how that was like an inspiration for Hollywood.
It broke a barrier.
Yeah.
It broke a barrier in movie making for sure, as far as concepts.
Yeah, and like for an old film, like it's not a bad watch,
No.
It was like 1980s, was it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
1980 something. Yeah, I mean, great humor. I like the storytelling that was put in there.
Yeah.
It was just, it's another one of those fun watches I enjoy. Definitely a classic,
Definitely a classic.
I don't know if they would ever do a 4, consider Michael J. Fox is still around, but I don't think they should.
I don't think they will. Michael J. Fox, he has something. What does he have? I forgot the name of it. It's a disease. He can't talk right that much anymore. He gets his whole body. It's a disease where your whole body gets stiff. I'm gonna look it up so I don't misinform people of what it is.
Yeah,
it might be Parkinson's. Let me see. Michael J. Fox. Yeah, he has Parkinson's disease, which he developed at a real early age. I think a little bit after he was done with the Back to the Future movies. And he has the Michael J. Fox Foundation and everything like that. People donate to it and everything to research for Parkinson's disease and everything like that. I really feel bad for the guy, but he lives with it, you know? He lives with it and he trudges through, and he's still living his life to his full potential as much as he can with it. So mad respect for him for that. But that's also why I'm saying they probably wouldn't make another Back to the Future movie with him. I'm sure he'll pop. If they were to make another Back to the Future movie, which I'm sure they will at some point in the future, maybe not soon, but probably later on, Michael J. Fox will probably make a cameo, because it would kind of be a disservice not to add him in a cameo. It's kind of like the 21 and 22 Jump Street movies, where they added Johnny Depp and the other guy that were the original people. You know, it would kind of just be a disservice if you don't have the originals pop up somewhere in there. But I don't think they'll make another Back to the Future movie with Michael J. Fox as your main star.
No, yeah, I mean, like, I meant, like, if he, like, pops up, like, in a small role.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
You know, introduce a new set of characters. No, hopefully not, like, like, underwritten characters, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, definitely.
You know, it's like, what was it? It's like with Star Wars. Like, you got these new characters now, but they're not as compelling as the original characters, like that.
Yeah. You know? That's a good way to put it. For sure.
Well, we'll see what the future holds on that one.
Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah, 100%. My number 3 is Avengers Endgame. You know, superhero films alone I love, so that's why it made it to closer to my number 1. And, you know, besides X-Men Days of Future Past, we really haven't seen time travel executed very well or used at all in any superhero movie. And, you know, time travel being a main focus point in the storyline, they executed it very well. They made like you were saying before, they made their own sort of rules when it came to time travel. And also, like you said before, they didn't misconstruct, and they didn't just throw away everything that's happened beforehand. You know, they didn't change anything so major that it just threw everything else that happened in the past 10 movies, make it a waste sort of deal. One of the interesting things they did do when they were time traveling, though, was the scene with Loki when they were getting the Tesseract. And what's so important about that scene when he escapes from Avengers Tower is that he's getting his own series now, Loki, which is coming out in June. Literally picking up right after that scene. It even shows it in the trailer for that. So that's interesting. You know, just the whole fact of how they could time travel, I found really interesting with the microverse. I thought they executed it very well. And it almost seems like it was easy for them to do this with all the certain sort of lore and mythology that they have within the Marvel universe, like the microverse, that they would be like, oh, this makes sense for time travel. Let's just use that. And I feel like it was just an easy choice for them, but at the same time, an effective and smart way of doing the whole time travel gig.
No, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, man, it basically just did their own thing, and I think it worked well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm curious to see, like, how Loki, like, picks up from that. You know? I mean, they are doing multiverse, too, so I wonder if Loki is also going to be, like, the cause of it.
Yes, this is true, too. But yeah, that is my number 3, Avengers Endgame.
All right, so my actual number 3, is actually Looper as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason why I didn't put it close to my number one, because I have two other films that are much bigger to me than Looper, honestly. But I like Looper a lot. Looper. I love Bruce Willis. I've followed him from Die Hard.
Yes.
You know, Joseph Levitt-Gordon. I'm going to be honest, I haven't been that crazy about him, but he has, you know, I liked him a lot in The Dark Knight Rises.
Me too.
Yeah, I liked him. It's like, for Joseph Levitt-Gordon, for me, it's kind of selective of his films.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he is a good actor.
He is.
You know, never can say he's a bad actor.
No, you can't argue with that. Yeah.
You know, I always found it, like, just like with Endgame, you know, this movie was kind of like its own concept of time travel. Like, you get a hitman, you wait for someone from the future to come back and get shot. You know, it was like a really, like, dark, mature, like, concept of time travel.
Yes.
And seeing, like, when he meets himself in the future, you know, that just, like, it really gives you, like, a crazy, like, scenario of what if it was you in the future.
Right.
You know? But the one thing, though, is, like, doesn't that, like, mess up the whole, like, space-time continuum, whatever? I'm not a scientist. I can't say it right.
Right.
But, like, I wonder, like, how that, like, would have affected the whole world. Obviously, they never did a sequel, and I doubt they ever will.
No.
But I would prefer they don't.
Me neither.
But I don't know. I'm just curious, like, how that, like, affects, like, that world. You know?
I'm not too sure either, because, I mean, maybe... So you're talking about just the fact that they see each other and interact with each other, like...
Yeah, and then, of course, at the end, spoiler alert, you know, he kills himself to save the girl.
Yes.
It was, what was her name? Emily...
Not Emily Blunt, right?
Emily Blunt, yeah.
Was it Emily Blunt?
It was Emily Blunt,
It was, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say Emily Willis, but that's a complete different actress.
Yeah, Emily Willis. I'm trying to...
Porn star.
Oh!
I was like, oh, nope.
Yes, you're right.
wrong actress. Far different compartment.
Yeah, right.
Department.
Yeah, Emily Blunt, she was good in the movie as well. I will say, though, maybe that's something that doesn't affect the space-time continuum just because of their rules of time travel and whatnot for that movie and for that world and universe. You never know. And maybe that's why it was never really brought up of why this is such a big problem, you know?
Yeah.
Just my 2 cents on that. Yeah.
Plus, I think the writing, it was just like when you were like at the end, it was like, it's probably one little thing. Or maybe it was like something like, you know, like Inception, you know, it was like you have that thought like, oh, wait, what if this happened? You know, maybe it was like kind of like that kind of concept.
Yeah. I also think Looper was not a confusing story, but definitely complicated in senses. I think it had a lot to pack in for its own thing because you're dealing with time travel and time jumping necessarily that, you know, that could all get confusing. I think if they added that factor of it, something messing up the space-time continuum, you are adding a whole nother factor and more dialogue to the movie that might just be too much to force into the audience.
Overstay its welcome.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was smart they avoided that.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, that was my number 3. No, I'll probably watch it too now since we're talking about it.
Yes.
But that's it.
For sure. Right. I hope it's on like Netflix or maybe even HBO or something like that. I need to look around on streaming services.
HBO's got a lot of great stuff. I should be surprised if we don't have it.
Yeah, me too.
They got a lot of big movies in there.
They do. All right, my number 2 is Back to the Future. I definitely had to put that close to my number 1. And it's because what we stated before. It's like, if it wasn't the first time travel movie, it's definitely the first time travel movie to do it right, and it was successful. You know, if it wasn't the first time travel movie, the ones that came before it obviously didn't do that well because it just didn't make it a staple for time travel movies. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Would we even have Rick and Morty if Back to the Future didn't come out? I think that's a good, interesting thing to think of.
Yeah, it is something.
You know, because it's clearly heavily influenced by Back to the Future. It 100% is. Doc Brown is one of the greatest characters, in my opinion, in movie history. I think he's such a nut job, which added to his character so much. And you have so many influential things that came out of that movie. You have the hoverboard that people were obsessed with when that movie first came out. And everyone wanted that thing. You know, everyone was waiting for the day that we'll actually get a hoverboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even those Nike sneakers. where they tighten up on their own. They actually made those sneakers. You know that?
I actually never knew that.
They made those sneakers. Yeah, they actually made those sneakers. They came out a couple of years ago. I know they were really expensive, and it was only a limited supply of them. But that's what I mean, how it was so influential, because you got Rick and Morty, you actually got those Nike sneakers to be put into production, and what was the other thing I mentioned before? Oh, and everyone was obsessed with the hoverboard. It's like, I can't wait for the day that they invent a hoverboard, and I could be like Michael J. Fox riding that thing, you know?
No, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's why it is my number 2. I think it's an important film in history. I really do think it is, because I think it inspired people and it showed people how to do time travel right. So yeah, that's my number 2.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. So was it my number 2? As I mentioned, I have another comic book movie in here, and the other one I have is Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie.
Wow, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. I'm so mad at myself. That would have been in my top 5.
It's not too late now. You can take it for number 1.
Dude, I think I might have to. But go ahead. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, like last night I was like, as I was thinking, like, what should I put in my top 5? Originally, actually, and I didn't even put to my honorable mentions. I should have. I put Men in Black 3.
Yeah.
But then I think like there was Flashpoint. Because that's funny, because as I was doing my list, I was watching Justice League for the second time. I was like, wait a minute, why don't I just put in Flashpoint in here?
Right.
You know, so that's what I did. I love Flashpoint a lot. You know, I remember watching that. I don't remember where I watched it exactly, but I think it was on the channel. I can't remember exactly where I first watched it, but when I watched it, you know, it was so closely accurate from the comic books, which I'm sure you read the comics. You know?
I actually have not read I'm not a big comic guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll explain the basis.
Okay.
So Flash goes back in time, tries to save his mom, because of course, you know, in the movies, you know, his dad got framed for his mom's murder. Reverse Flash was actually responsible for his mother's death, and so fast forward, no pun intended. Flash goes back to the present with his mom alive, but everything's different. The Justice League doesn't exist. Bruce Wayne's dead. His dad's Batman.
Right.
He's killing everybody.
Which is a cool concept.
Yeah. I don't remember where Cyborg was in the comics, but in the movie, you know, he was just kind of like his own thing. He was working with the government. Aquaman and Wonder Woman were at war with each other because one woman killed Mara.
Yes.
After Mara saw that she and Aquaman were having a relationship behind her back. Mm-hmm. And then it all turned into like World War III. And then at the end of the movie, you know, Reverse Flash gets killed. Well, not really killed, but he died at that moment. Yeah. And Flash goes back in time and he stops himself from saving his mother. Which, you know, there was a lot of emotion to it, you know, considering, you know, when you find out you have time travel abilities, you know, what do you do with it, you know? Yeah. You go back and save somebody that you care for, you know? And I like movies like that because when you try to do a selfless act, you know, there's consequences to it. Yes. You know, I like that, you know, and I think, you know, the character himself probably learned from that, you know, even though I think, you know, later on they touched on that a little more. Or actually, no, they didn't. I'm thinking of the other animated movies. There's a separate one from that. It's the Justice League War.
Oh, yes, I saw that one too.
Yeah, I thought they were like connected to each other, but actually, no, they're two different series. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, really? They are?
I think they are. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know there was like no mentioning. Except in the recent Justice League movie that came out last year.
The Apocalypse.
Apocalypse
Justice League
War.
Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was like reference that movie.
I'm not sure.
I might have to look it up to be sure, but yeah. But overall, I really like that a lot. I really like the movie a lot. You know, it was very close to the comics. Yes. You know, and, you know, listen, if Flash can, like, take a page from that, the Flash movie, I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm sure it got some inspiration from the Flashpoint.
Definitely.
You know, we'll see. But yeah, definitely number 2 on my list.
I am so mad at myself that I didn't think about that movie, dude. I am in love with that animated movie. I really am. Yeah. You know, DC animated movies hit it out of the ballpark 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 out of 10. That movie was fantastic. I love that you brought up that it was the whole selfless act thing. That is something that you love. I love that as well too. I think it's fantastic. Such a good movie. I'm so mad. I'm so mad at myself. Really. But I will make it my number one because I do want to talk about this number one that I have. And it was one that was on your honorable mentions, X-Men Days of Future Past.
Okay.
You know, I think it's easy to forget that it's a time travel movie because he really only time travels in the beginning of the movie, and then they're in that time period throughout the course of it. You know, well, Wolverine is in that time period throughout the whole course of the movie necessarily. So I think it's easy to forget that time travel is involved, even though the title is Days of Future Past. Like, just the title itself is a mindfuck in itself. You know what I mean? But I am in love with that movie. I think it is the best X-Men movie of all time. And I'm talking about the X-Men. Like, I'm not referring... I don't include Logan a part of that, which I think as an overall... All right, overall X-Men movies, Logan is my favorite. But when you're talking about with X-Men in the name of the title, Days of Future Past is the best, in my opinion. And that's why it's my number one. I think it's one of the best superhero films of all time as well. And the way they executed time travel was fantastic too. Like, to introduce all these young versions of characters was well executed. It was a great way to bring them in for future movies that, like you said before, didn't end up that well. But they executed the beginning perfectly, in my opinion. I don't really have much to say about it except that it was a fantastic movie. They executed time travel right. And God bless Hugh Jackman. God bless Sir Patrick Stewart. And who is Magneto again?
I can't pronounce his name.
Oh,
it's very like I think he's British.
He is British. Magneto actor. Ian McKellen. Yeah, Ian McKellen, another great one. And you know what? Michael Fassbender's Magneto is also fantastic as well.
He was perfect casting for young Magneto.
He was what?
He was perfect casting for
perfect, yeah.
Younger Magneto.
Absolutely. Even James McAvoy as young Professor X. I thought he was a fantastic choice as well, too.
Yeah, it was a really nice cast they assembled.
Yeah.
For like the younger versions.
Oh, and the introduction of their Quicksilver.
Peter Evans, yeah.
Evan Peters. Yeah.
Evan Peters.
Evan
Got that
Peters.
backwards.
Yeah. His introduction, the fans loved him. It made the movie 10 times better. X-Men Days of Future Past is my number one for top 5 time travel movies.
All right, so now are you going to be mad about my number one?
I don't know. Let's see.
Terminator 2.
Okay. Terminator 1 and 2. I should have phrased that better before. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day, I believe it was called, were 2 amazing movies.
Probably like 2 Terminator movies alone that were good.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And then it went downhill from there. But
yeah.
Continue, yeah.
But yeah, Judgment Day, it's been a while since I've seen that movie too. There's like a lot of movies here that I have not watched in a while.
Same here, yeah.
But yeah, I like it. I know some people are like, oh, it's the same concept as the first movie. You know, Terminator person comes back from the future to the past, present, you know. But obviously, it was 2 Terminators.
Yeah.
And no, I really liked the relationship between the Schwarzenegger's Terminator with what was the son's name? It was
John Connor.
John Connor. I was about to say Jack.
No, it's it is long. John Connor. Yeah,
John Connor. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, and I really like how it stayed true to the first movie. You know, Sarah. You know, she went crazy. Well, not crazy, but like considerably crazy, you know, after the first movie leaves off.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of like emotion in there, you know, from the characters, you know, which it's a shame, like you can never see that with a Terminator movie ever again.
Probably not.
You know, and honestly, and I should say that this is like actually the one James Cameron movie I actually liked. I'm not that big of a fan of James Cameron, you know, Partly because I don't like how he's criticizing other movies these days.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
So it kind of makes me hard for me to be at least optimistic for his movies.
Sure.
Especially for Avatar 2, which never comes out.
I'm not even excited for them, dude. I don't know why he's making 2, 3, and 4. Like, it happened so long ago, dude. Get over it.
I was like, I don't even know anybody who cares, honestly.
Yeah.
But back on the topic, Terminator 2, probably the one Cameron film I actually liked. I really liked the fights. Which as I say with Back to the Future, for an old film, it doesn't look bad. Yeah, Terminator looked good for an old film.
Absolutely.
Terminator 1 and 2 looked really good. Because I remember, especially towards the end, when the what was the advanced Terminator called, or was he a Terminator?
T800.
T800, something like that.
I think T800 was Arnold Schwarzenegger himself.
Oh, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And then, are you talking about the guy that's almost like liquefied?
The liquefied.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot what his model number was or whatever. Yeah. But, the core fight between those two was, I always found them to be, very, energetic. Yeah. Like, the driving, the chasing, it was, all, really, well done for an old film.
I agree.
And it's, I imagine if I was someone who, lived through the 80s or 90s, it was the 80s, wasn't it? I believe it was. It was late 80s.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Late 80s. Yeah. I could imagine if I was, someone who, came to the theaters and, actually got to see these movies. Yeah. Consider the 80s were probably, the best year for films.
I could agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
I thought something happened.
Oh, no. It just went blank.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I really like Terminator 2 a lot. It's just a shame that we can never get a great Terminator movie like that again.
Yeah, I think it's another never say never situation, but I think you're right.
Consider it's been 30 years?
Yeah.
Can we still say never say never?
Maybe I don't know.
Another 30 years, maybe?
Maybe another 30 years, yeah. I think what they got to do is kind of just stop making Terminator movies. They need to stop and really take a step back. Maybe take James Cameron out of the picture. Is it one of his babies? Yeah. But I think he's gotten stale with his ideas for these movies.
Honestly, especially in recent years, I feel just in general, I don't think anyone's been impressed with what he's done.
Yeah,
he was involved with the last Terminator movie, was he?
Yeah, he was. I think heavily too. Yeah,
didn't
end up well. Did not end up well.
I saw that in theaters.
Did you?
I did. Me and a couple of my buddies. It was fun at first, but after a while sitting on it, it was I truly just didn't really care for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But never say never. I'll see you in 30 years on that.
Yeah, so, right.
We'll see.
We'll be on another podcast 30 years later titled Never Say Never.
Yeah, if we're both still alive by then.
Yeah, right.
If we're both still alive.
All right, I think we both had a good top 5 list for this, and I think we had some pretty good honorable mentions as well. Mm-hmm. Our whole conversation with the Snyder Cut, I don't think it could have gone better. I think we covered mostly everything that happened with the movie.
Very much.
Yeah. And I think we did a great job with that. And with that being said, I think we'll end it there. Angelo, I want to thank you very much for being on the pod for the first time. We'll be having you on a lot more as well, as long as you're wanting to. And we'll talk more in the future, my man. Thank you for being on.
No, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, my dude. And for you guys, thank you for watching. If you like this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And also follow us on Instagram at Podcast with Frank. I'll be putting clips of this podcast, among other projects of mine, on there for you to check out. And with that being said, see you next episode. Peace out.
Yeah, that's another thing, man. I don't curse in my music. I do if I have to, but I try not to. I was playing my music back in the day, when I first started making music. I was playing it for my older brother. Yeah. And as soon as I started rapping, not even 20 seconds into me rapping, he stopped me because I cursed. And he stopped me. He was like, "Yo, bro, what you doing? Why are you saying all this and that?" And that woke me up to I don't need to be saying all this wild stuff unless I have to. Yeah. But that woke me up to a whole nother page of my vocabulary, my thinking.
Yeah.
it's a lot of words that like I could be saying like, you know, but nah, like I would switch it like, okay, now let me think outside the box and say something other than mother effer or
and you're
bitch, like you feel me, like
you're making it more unique that way too. You know, you're being different than everyone else, which I think is so important in today's world anyway.